When it comes to social media in India, there is just one hot star. He's also now the face of Facebook right here in India. Some might call him the face of even WhatsApp and Instagram, since, well, all three are under one umbrella. But he's also been distracted off late. He's been busy in his hobbies, which are tennis and cricket. He had a super Sunday, like all of us, switching between channels, Roger Federer versus Novak Djokovic, and of course that crazy final that nobody thought could ever happen, but it did. We intend to have another super over, and that is going to be with Ajit Mohan. Ajit Mohan, thank you so much for being with us, the MD and VP of Facebook. It's a pleasure to have you. It was great meeting you last time, having a good dinner and talking a little bit about what's happening in India with the elections in particular. But this time it's something else that you're bringing to the table with the government. It's rather exciting for rural India, isn't it?
It is. We are announcing our first partnership really of this scale with the Government of India, where we are partnering with the Common Service Center, CSC Academy, to essentially help build digital training skills, leveraging the CSC network of the hundreds of thousands of village-level entrepreneurs that they have.
Okay, all right. What is the exact number of village-level entrepreneurs that they have, and that you will be essentially going out to in how many phases? Because I understand it's phase-based.
Right. So this announcement is about the first phase. And if I may just take a couple of minutes to explain the context of the partnership and why we are excited about it. If you really look at the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a tremendous explosion in the access to affordable mobile broadband. There's still a lot of work that the country needs to do to get the internet to go deeper, but just how the needle has moved in the last 5 years, and especially in the last 3 years in particular, has been amazing. At the same time, there's a history with the CSC where a very robust network of village-level entrepreneurs have been created. Essentially, a WAS public information distribution system has been created over the last few years, where there are today nearly 365,000 village entrepreneurs who enable access for the communities they live in to government services.
Okay.
So we really saw these two, and the recognition that Facebook, with its scale in India, and where we have more than 300 million people who come to our platform, a lot of them every day. And the opportunity that we really saw was, if a lot of work has already happened in enabling access to that internet, what is the role that we can play with everything that we have in taking that a step further in terms of enabling that access to really allow entrepreneurs and communities to unleash the full power of the internet by training them in the toolkits that today are available and leveraged by big global successful corporations around the world.
Give me an example. Let's say I'm in a village in Punjab. I know it's a cliche, but if I'm there and I have access to internet, which has just come because, well, the central government and the Punjab government have managed to work together and bring it there finally. How is it that Facebook on the ground is going to come and make an impact on my life?
Great question. I think really the partnership has two elements, and I'll bring that alive. In the village in Punjab that you refer to, it's quite possible that there is an entrepreneur who has created a food business,
yeah,
or a rug business.
Yeah.
And a lot of times for many of these entrepreneurs, they're very conscious of the markets that they readily know, which is invariably that the communities that they see in the immediate geographical proximity. But the big opportunity for them in terms of what they have created could be to take that product to villages and towns and cities around India.
Yeah.
And in some cases, the opportunity for them could be the whole world.
So
and therefore,
yeah.
There are two things that we believe really can be unleashed between the access that they have and the ability to build a booming business for themselves. One is, and the focus of this program in the first phase is particularly on female entrepreneurs, female village level entrepreneurs. So for a lot of women who may have access, but they haven't really come online or haven't fully exploited the internet, a lot of concern is about safety. and privacy.
Yeah.
Will my information be available? Will my picture be readily available? So we make sure that with the toolkits that we have built around privacy and safety, we essentially create knowledge about how do you engage with the internet in a safe manner, and in a manner that is consistent with the guardrails that you want to draw.
Absolutely.
In terms of your engagement. The second part is, for a lot of them, it may be, okay, I'm making a rug, I'm building a pickle, people like it, but I don't know, how do I grow it to a lakh of rupees in the first month and 10 lakh of rupees in a year from now. And fundamentally what we have seen is around the world that first single person entrepreneur, they invariably use a page on Facebook to create the presence on the internet. And then they figure out, okay, how do I get the word out to the kind of people that I may be interested in? And a lot of that, and in this case, we are leveraging the toolkits that we have access to. It could be on any platform, but fundamentally it is about how do we create
when you say it could be on any platform, you mean Facebook and Instagram and perhaps even WhatsApp?
So in this case, our effort is focused on Facebook.
Okay.
But fundamentally, our belief is once there is awareness built about how do you use digital marketing tools, that awareness can then be applied anywhere. But the focus of the program in its first phase is specifically on in terms of what we bring in is how do you create that toolkit of digital marketing skills.
Yeah.
And in some ways, the best way to think about it is really entrepreneurship in a box.
Okay.
But that box has curriculum and toolkits that today global corporations use, but we are making it relevant for village entrepreneurs in partnership with the CSE.
Well, it's great because it's all about Digital India and you're helping with that. But who came up with the idea? And did you approach the government or the government approach you? How did it happen?
I think a lot of credit is to the CSE and to the government of India because they've done two things. I think they've created the framework for this in the design of the program. And second, they've reached out to private sector organizations and essentially allowed someone like us who has the capabilities hopefully to add value and the intent to collaborate.
So you
all credit for them.
Is what you're saying.
And all credit for them. And for us, it was intuitive because it does connect with a lot of things that are important for us. We definitely, the core mission that we have is how do you enable people the power to build communities? In this case, the entire principle of the CSE is rooted in building communities and fueling the communities, first with access to services and now with the ability to expand economic opportunity. Second, we like the focus on women entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so how? In the village, it's difficult enough to find entrepreneurs who are open to the idea and educated enough, perhaps, to be able to use social media the way they want to use it, the way that you can help them use it. But how will you find women in that? Even help them?
No, I think it's a great question. Currently, and the CSE program has been expanding over time, there are around 365,000 village-level entrepreneurs who are already part of the program. Nearly more than 60,000 of them are women.
Okay. And so that database is available to you, I suppose.
It's the CSE. So we're essentially partnering with CSE. I think our role is essentially to bring in the toolkit and enable CSE to drive this program. So we are fundamentally saying in this phase, out of that 65,000, let's work with 5,000 female entrepreneurs. And the objective is by training them through CSE, we essentially enable them to reach out to 250,000 people in the 10 states that are part of this pilot.
Okay, but when you say you're going to do that through CSC, that's the government, you're going to train government officials and they are going to go down to the ground in the village areas, or you're yourself going to go down to the village areas, meet those women, and then transfer that information and technology to them?
I think two parts to it. I think the one role is for us to bring in the curriculum.
Okay.
Right. I think the real value that we can add is essentially develop the online and offline curriculum that allows CSE to kickstart this training program. So because that's the toolkits, that's the knowledge that we have, and our role is in putting it into an easily available box that can now start this radiation of knowledge.
Yeah.
The second part is in terms of access to the platform. Just one of the ideas that we are exploring now is other mechanisms to connect the different communities where you use Facebook Live to have an entrepreneur tell a successful story to others who may have similar experiences or who may be facing similar same areas of friction in expanding their business.
Okay.
So I think we are going into it with the primary objective that we really have to deliver is creating the curriculum.
Whatever you need to do for that, you'll do, is what you're saying.
That's right.
And if that requires you to go on the ground, you will.
I think currently it's CSC's program that we are fueling and partnering.
Okay.
But frankly, I think if our help is needed, I think we have the intent to make sure that we are really making available the power of our network to unleash what's an exciting agenda to expand economic opportunity.
Well, it's going to be something that Facebook perhaps definitely needs a lot of goodwill in recent times. But let me just now switch topics to something which has been a hot button issue. We're talking about data localization. Yes, the bill is not there yet in Parliament, and yes, we don't know the nuances and contours of it. But we've had a conversation that's been going around it. For example, Vijay Gokhale, the Foreign Secretary, talked about how data is a form of wealth for a country now. And they're going to have to, try to harness that wealth. And you've had Mark Zuckerberg talk about it. So it is something that everyone's talking about and looking forward to. I just want to know what conversations have happened within Facebook about the possibilities that lie ahead.
I think two things here. One is there are a lot of consultations that are going on, both with us as well as other tech companies, and we are actively engaged in those consultations. And second is, I think the framework for us really is, we are an ally for India, and for me, it's a consequential, special country for us, and we are quite committed to making sure that, and part of the program that we talked about is how do we really unleash the full power and potential of the communities and the networks that we have and the knowledge that we have, and apply it to the mission of expanding economic opportunity in India. So I think we will remain focused on that, and we'll actively engage in the consultations that are already on.
So you're saying it's a possibility that you would accept the government's plan to have data localized
I actually
in India?
haven't articulated any point of view on this.
No, but you're saying you're open to the thought process.
I'm happy to have you as a consulting stakeholder as well.
But bottom line out here is that you're saying
I think the only thing I'm saying is that we are engaged in the consultations that are happening, and we value the opportunity to express our points of view, a lot of which are happening in private at the moment.
Okay, that's interesting because it did appear from what Mark Zuckerberg said earlier that certain countries they're not okay with, but India is, as you said, an ally, and you would like to actually work with them on anything that they would like. So I understand that. Okay, final question for you, two questions. One is about WhatsApp end-to-end encryption. You've had a very clear signal now from the government that they want to know everything that they can know about traceability from a WhatsApp user to another. It's got to do with so many things. We've seen mob lynchings, we've seen kidnappings. It is a serious issue. It is about life and death. And Facebook has, not directly been involved because it's WhatsApp, but you're all owned. I just want to know your thoughts on that as somebody who leads Facebook, because it's also happening on Facebook and it's also happening on WhatsApp.
I think two thoughts. One, WhatsApp is a separate entity in India, so I will kind of defer.
But you work together on the election, for example, so you know what I'm saying.
Representatives in terms of engaging on that. What I can say, given WhatsApp is a partner of ours, and the question that you asked about Facebook as well as, I think as a company we are deeply committed to safety and privacy of all the people who are on the platform, and I think you and I had many conversations related to the elections, and I think you will agree with me that you saw a level of sincerity and purpose from Facebook in making sure that we were doing everything needed to ensure that we were putting safety and privacy at the top of the agenda, and that'll continue to be the case.
Yeah, but how will it impact end-to-end encryption?
As I said, I think the question on WhatsApp is probably a question better asked to the
All right, this is the fun question. This is the best question, I think. It's about Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. I just want to know, England versus India, was a match that we all want to forget. England versus New Zealand was also happening. What was that one moment that you thought you were going to fall off your sofa or chair wherever you were sitting?
Yeah, I think great question, and I knew the tough question was going to come from you. I think when Federer had the championship point,
Yeah.
I'm a big Nadal fan, and you've kind of set me up for that question.
Yeah.
And all the reactions that are
So
going
you
to come
just
from my
didn't want
friends
Federer
now.
to win.
I wouldn't articulate it with so much precision.
Oh.
And of course on cricket, I think it would have been fabulous to have an India-England finals, but I think it was an absolutely great match. I would have loved for New Zealand to have won.
Yeah.
But even better, it would have been even lovelier if India was in the finals and had won.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been a great architect of articulation. Thanks so much for joining us. It's
Thank you
been
for
a
the
pleasure once
conversation.
again talking to you.
Thank you.